So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
Good afternoon and welcome to Pottawa episode, whatever, not really sure at this point, it could be 20. Brought to you by Buzzon, Ottawa's hip new head shop, 617 Centre Street, east of Saint Laurent, south of Montreal Road. That's just a little bit, it's right near the McDonald's there, you can't miss it, it's in a little strip mall. And also brought to you by Cannabis, Ottawa's premier cannabis dispensary, 141 Preston Street, just south of Somerset. This is Pottawa, the first and still only show of its kind in the area. We also have a video show that we do once a week. You can look for us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Well, it's been a while since I've been on the show here. Been a while since I've talked. Lots going on. We'll start with the bucket beer. Now, Doug Model T Ford has found himself as premier now. I'm a little concerned about the election, actually. I didn't like the electronic voting situation that I saw at my local place, and I'm wondering if this was rigged. But anyway, he's premier now, and there's nothing we can do about it. And he's trying to keep one of his promises, which is to have bucket beer. He's been helping some beer companies, like basically subsidizing huge companies, so that they can provide people with beer at $1 a can. Of course, that price would only be on 2 fours, not on 12 packs or 6 packs or buying an individual beer. So that doesn't really help that much. And it's weird that he considers that a priority while simultaneously chopping away at things like social welfare issues, Ontario Disability Support, Ontario Works, school infrastructure money. It's madness. It's cartoonish. So that's happening while he's cutting away the minimum income thing that they had going, the trial thing with a bunch of people in Hamilton, and that's being totally cut. Oh, but we're going to have bucket beer, and he wants to have it, make sure that they could have it by this weekend or Labor Day or whatever. And it's madness. Of course, the media is not having it. The beer industry is not having it. Why am I talking about this? Well, it's because it has to do with drugs. This government is promoting alcohol. They're telling you, drink more beer. Drink more beer. I'll even make it cheaper for you to drink more beer. And that's an irresponsible message to be sending out. Because Ontarians already have an alcohol problem, a serious alcohol problem. And they need to address that. And bucket beer is not going to do that. Not that bucket beer is going to go out and make people drink more. I mean, it would be pretty absurd to think, oh, great, it's 13 cents cheaper now. I'm going to go out and start drinking a lot more beer. People are going to drink what they're going to drink. But there should be dumping money and subsidies into mental health and other health issue and this kind of stuff, into the funding for that stuff, so that we can help get people off of alcohol if they're addicted to it, or help reduce their problematic drinking. So it's cartoonishly insane what he's doing. But on the bright side, there are some good things that are happening. For example, with only 10 weeks to go until legalization, Ontario doesn't appear to have ordered any pot. Yeah, over the past while, they put a freeze. The Ford government put a freeze on hiring in the public sector. That means that they won't be hiring any people to work at the Ontario Cannabis Store, run by LCBO. They announced a little while ago, since before the last show, that they're not going to go with the monopoly model, probably. They made vague allusions to possibly doing something more like what Saskatchewan or Alberta has planned, private and public sector mix. But they haven't bought any pot. They're not hiring people. They're not even hiring people for the big, shut down the dispensary squad that they've got going. They've even stopped hiring for that. So this is good news in a way, because it means that the The busts probably won't be as numerous or as vigorous or as frequent. And and he won't even answer any questions about it. You know, like they ask him, well, what about this? And what about this? He's like, yeah, we'll get to it. So all these companies now are coming in real fast. There's a frenzy going on, according to this article here. Cannabis retail companies flock to Ontario in a frenzy, despite silence from province on pot plans. And you got to go read this. It's in the CBC. And this is, I don't even know what to think anymore. I don't even know what to think because they don't seem to be addressing the issue. And it's only 10 weeks away, you know, less. I mean, it's October 17th. That's like 2 months from now, 2 months from next week. And that's crazy. They should have everything in place. Of course, the other side of this argument is this really should be cut and paste legislation. It should be cut and paste regulation as well. So it's surprising that they're constantly trying to reinvent the wheel about, you know, every time they go to, every time they want to do something about pod. They can't seem to just say, okay, well, what's the quickest, easiest way to do that? They were told the quickest, easiest way to do that was to regulate the dispensaries that exist, so that the dispensaries that exist could then regulate, you know, they could regulate their suppliers, or they could start getting from the LPs. Now, the thing is, too, I've also seen reports where the LPs are not to be trusted. Someone sent in there, or they're part of the person I saw posted on Facebook, they're part of the Organogram class action suit, and they sent an unopened jar of medical cannabis that came from Organogram to one of the Health Canada approved labs and got it tested for over 1,000 different things. Health Canada really only tests for about 50. Well, they found all kinds of banned neurotoxins in there, and when they asked Health Canada about it, Health Canada replied with a bunch of redacted papers. That means that Health Canada knows that these companies are using banned chemicals, some of them very, very dangerous. They know about it, and they're helping cover it up. Rather than sanction these companies, rather than take away their right to produce, rather than take away their, you know, their ability to keep continuing poisoning the public, they are in fact, they are in fact sanctioning the whole thing. So that's disconcerting when the government, who is supposed to be protecting us, is actually endangering us to help protect corporations. This is something we should all be worried about. And who do we even complain to? You know, you can complain to the health minister. What's that going to get you? She's probably in on it. So, you know, is there an ombudsman? This is eventually going to all come out in the wash at the class action suit, which is going ahead, by the way. So lots of people are suing Organogram, and in a separate suit, lots of people are suing what used to be Metrum for millions and millions of dollars because they poisoned people. They poisoned people. It's insane. And what I wonder about is, why would they do this? Obviously, you want to keep a crop from going bad because that could mean millions of dollars lost. That could mean the end of the company right there if we don't save this crop. But at the same time, you want to risk the company reputation by poisoning your clients, poisoning sick people who are already sick. This is not like, you know, people who are buying Red Bull for fun. I mean, if that stuff poisons people, you kind of go, well, you know, buyer beware. But that is turning out to be safer than the government-grown weed because that actually has a lot more regulation. And the people who watch over the makers of Red Bull and Monster and stuff like that, they actually they're not in on the scam like Health Canada seems to be. So it looks like you can't trust the most of the LPs, or some of the LPs anyway. How do we know which ones are trustworthy? How do we know which ones are completely clean and producing completely clean ones? The only way we can know is if they're being, if they're doing testing. They're doing off-site testing by an independent company who's not beholden to them or their agenda. And the company goes, hey, man, we tested what you sent us, right? That's And publicize it. You got to publicize all of your results. That's the only way the public's going to trust you. So when a company is huge and they can afford to get Health Canada to help them cover stuff up, that's a time for Canadians to be scared. So I think it'll be a long, long time before I or my wife will be using any LP produced weed. We are not interested in getting poisoned in an effort just to help an industry. That said, there are probably some LPs that are doing just fine, that are a lot more ethical than it seems Organigram is, and we'll have to see how all of that plays out. Right now I'm going to play a song. This is a very old song. It's from, let me just find this now. Yes, okay. This is from July of 1969. Yes, 49 years and 1 month ago, this album came out, and it's The Soft Parade by The Doors.
And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio. What is it? Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time. 420 Radio? Woo!
Hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
When I was back there in seminary school, there was a person there who put forth the proposition that you can petition the Lord with prayer. Petition the Lord with prayer. Petition the Lord with prayer. You cannot petition the Lord with prayer. Can you give me sanctuary? I must find a place to hide, a place for me to hide. Can you find me soft asylum? I can't make it anymore. The man is at the door. Peppermint mini skirts, chocolate candy, champion sound.
All right, that was The Doors with The Soft Parade. That album took 9 months to record. 9 months, because Jim was so drunk and messed up on drugs, and Paul Rothchild was so meticulous, he made them do sometimes 60 takes of things, which is funny because this is the same producer who just, 2 years prior managed to record the first album in a week. 7 days of recording. They got all the songs done. So but it was a good song. It's a pretty good album. Most of the album is pretty good, but it shows a man in decline, sadly. The thing I want to talk about now is a really cool event. There have been a couple events in Ottawa put on by impresario Wayne Robillard, and he calls them Reefer Madness. And usually what happens is he'll rent a space, and vendors come, and they can sell their glass, they sell dab, they give free dab samples, they have like a dab contest, there's entertainment, there's door prizes, and all this kind of stuff. Well, it's been a while since he had one, because he's been having trouble finding a venue. Not everyone is that keen on having what is still technically kind of illegal stuff going on, but there's one happening this weekend. I can't really say where it is yet, because we don't want to tip our hand, but I know where it is. And if you want to go to it, contact me. I'll give you the address later on. But this is going to be fantastic. There's going to be vendors. Sunday, August 12th, 1 to 9 p.m. Food trucks, vendors, entertainment, giveaways, door prizes, and me, the angriest pothead in Canada. Among the people who are going to be there, Crosstown Traffic, iMed Cannabis, KOBB Glass, Cobb Glass, Design 420, Wicked Wanda's Adult Emporium. I'll be doing a bit of a demonstration with Wicked Wanda's and Gillian Fitzgibbon, who's co-presenting with them, because I'm even on the poster here. Mr. Russell Barth, the angriest pothead in Canada, and the thing we're calling Spank You Very Much. So you don't want to miss this. This is going to be very, very cool. And this is where we found out there was, he also did these things, the Reefer the Master Series Dab Throwdown, where they have these dab contests and stuff. And we've been to those. If you go to YouTube and type in Pottawa, Reefer Madness, you'll find coverage of some of the events that we've done. Me and my producer Nate have been to these events, and it's very fun. So if you're interested, contact me. If you're listening to this after Sunday, August 12th, well, too late. You'll be hearing some audio from on next week's show about it, though, because we're going to be recording quite a bit of stuff, and hopefully we'll be able to have something prepared for you. Other than that, not much else to talk about. I mean, there's lots to talk about. Oh, there was one thing. Let me just reopen that. Hang on. It's this thing. This is in the Canada Gazette, okay, Government of Canada. Extra Volume 152, Number 3, Part 1. Approved Drug Screening Equipment Order. Yes, the Draeger Drug Test 5000 STK-CA, which is used to test saliva to look for the presence of certain drugs, has been approved for use in Canada. It's approved drug screening equipment, and Canada is ordering a bunch of them to give to officers to violate your charter rights. Do not comply with this thing. You can go see about this on Canada Gazette. If you just type in Canada Gazette, drug test, approved drug screening equipment order. Yeah, that's something to be afraid of. If they decide, if the C student who is standing outside your car decides on a whim that you look, quote, stoned to him, he's going to start asking for like a swab of your saliva. Now, remember, these people are servants. You don't have to answer any questions. As far as I'm concerned, you should just go, no, I'm not complying with any of this. You may have a lot more legal hassle not complying than complying, but I think principle is more important than expedience. I think it's more important to stand your ground and say, no, this is too far. This is government and police and corporate overreach, and I'm not standing for it. Sometimes you got to take a stand for these things, and sometimes that costs money. Sometimes that costs a lot of things. And you should definitely do something. I don't know how Canadians, the media is really part of it. You know, the media does not question the police when the police say, oh, it's such a danger. It's such a huge danger. We absolutely have to have these powers. We absolutely have to have these devices. We absolutely have to have these huge penalties in place. The media doesn't really question whether or not that's true. They just tend to believe the cops. And that's a bad policy, because then they just regurgitate police lies as if it was true, and the public is left bamboozled. The public seems to think that pot is a huge danger and has been a huge danger to Canadian roads, when not only do statistics that we do have not support that, it actually shows the opposite, that, you know, accidents have been going down while pot use has been going up. So is pot making people better drivers? Some studies show that it is. So we got a long fight ahead of us still, but you know, what are you going to do? You got to just keep fighting. You cannot let them, you know, whether you win or lose, you have to keep fighting. Whether you win or lose, you have to keep fighting, because personally, I'd rather go down kicking and screaming and spitting in my assailant's face than have to look in the mirror and see the face of a man who capitulated, to see the face of a man who acquiesced. I can't live with that. Maybe a lot of other people can. I mean, I have friends who are facing charges. They're talking about plea deals, and that's your business, you know. But I couldn't live with myself. I couldn't look my wife in the eye, and nor do I think she would look upon me as a man of integrity after that if I did capitulate. So on that note, I'm going to leave you with two songs. The first one is Disintegration by The Cure from their album Disintegration. It's a fantastic song. This is from May 1989. And following that, one of my favorite songs, actually, from Joe's Garage, Act 2, which came out in November of 1979 when I was just 10 years old. After Disintegration, you're going to hear Frank Zappa's Cyborg. Anyway, that's the show for this week. Come to the Reefer Madness event if you can get to Ottawa on Sunday, and we'll talk to you next week. Until then, remember, only slaves obey. Good night.
Website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this lifestyle radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
fight fit starts, just let go, like hearts with fears.
Are you looking for cannabis news, education, and people's opinions? Are you looking to learn what Canadian and international cannabis advocates are doing? Not only now, but what got them to this point in their lives, and what does the future hold for them? Do you want to learn how patients are using cannabis as their daily medication, or learn how their cannabis use helps them with their medical condition? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I'm going to suggest to you to tune in to Lifestyle Radio. Catch their live weekly shows and have your questions and concerns answered and find the experience you're looking for. Monday, catch your weekly news broadcast with the Reefer Reporters. Then on Wednesday, get several hours worth of cannabis public education. We get things started with cannabis and coffee with Marijuana. Then tune in and catch Pottawa with Russell Barth, who calls himself the world's angriest pothead. Finish up your evening with the award-winning Pace Radio Show with Al Graham and joint host Kim Cooper and Alicia Yashishin. No week would be complete without tuning into Friday night's program, the 420 Radio Show featuring Al Rapp and the 420 Radio crew, Mary Jane Baker and Marcel Gignac. Cannabis is a lifestyle, and you can catch all your cannabis lifestyle information right here at lifestyleradio.net or at our sister site, 420radio.ca.
Celebrate Indigenous Awakening at Legacy 420's first outdoor music fest, August 11th on the Tyendinaga Mohawk territory.
This one's about rock and roll and comic books and bubblegum.
Featuring Headstones, DJ Shove, Derek Miller, and more, with host MC Howie Miller. Opening drum ceremony at 12 noon. Medicinal, food, and Indigenous vendors and artists. Free camping. Tickets $75 at legacy420.com. A 19 and over event. Indigenous Awakening, Saturday, August 11th on Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Take Highway 401, exit 556.
Sponsored by NIMCA and Legacy 420.
Indigenous Awakening and Legacy 420 have just announced a price reduction. All tickets are now available for $50.
Give me that cyborg. Give me that. Give me the chromium lead. I bet cyborg. Give me that cyborg. Give me that. Chromium lead. Little wires, pliers, tires, they turn me on. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. And this is a real groovy apartment you got here.
All government-sponsored recreational services are clean and efficient.
This is exciting. I never blew the tiny chrome-plated machine that looks like a magical pig with marital age stuck all over it, such as yourself before.
You'll love it. It's a way of life.
Does that mean maybe later you'll flute me?
If you wish, we may have a groovy orgy.
just me and you.
I share this apartment with a modified gay pop doll. He goes all the way. Ever tried oral sex with a miniature rubberized homo replica?
No, not yet. Is this him?
This is him. Your wish is his command. He likes you. He wants to kiss you always. Just tell him what you want.
Really? Hi, little guy. Think I might get a tiny but exciting blow job. Give me that blow job. Give me that. Give me Dick Romeo. Cobb. Gay Bob. Blow job. Give me that blow job. Give me that. Give me Dick Romeo. Cobb.
You'll love it. It looks just like a telephone U-47.
Little leather cap and trousers, they look so gay. Warren just bought some. Warren just bought some. Warren just bought some.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants.